with a lot of guys with this. What do you think are some of the biggest things that guys deal with, and how can they prepare and or put themselves in a situation where they don't have to deal with the machine that is the family court system?
Yeah, so I actually have a course on this called The Unplugged Alpha's Guide to Divorce, and it's linked to all my social media, okay. So I'll just mention that in passing. But I think the biggest mistake that guys make is that there's a vast difference between the way women handle divorce and the way that men handle them. So women are still initiating the vast majority of them. And when they initiate them, they're doing a lot of planning. It's not like a week's planning or a month or two. Sometimes it's months or even years before they actually pull the trigger and be like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I'm going to take the kids to my mom's house this weekend. I want a divorce, right? So there's a big setup to it. Like they sit down with their girls, they have some wine. Oh, girl, you can do this, that, and the other thing. They get some advice. Guys don't get that. They're usually blindsided. They're like, the only sign they usually get is they're not getting any kind of bedroom intimacy. They're getting a lot more disagreements. She's fighting with them a lot more, stuff like that.
Things they think are normal.
Yeah, for a lot of married people. Right? And it's like you have to understand you're walking into a slaughterhouse. Like, it's a building with a whole bunch of sharp in it, and you're going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. It's not if you're going to get hurt, it's to what extent or the damage that's going to happen to you. And that's why, for guys, when it goes through divorce, their self-deletion rate is like 8 times higher than women.
Yeah.
Because it's that difficult. So what usually ends up happening is women get custody, guys see, their assets and their income flow from him to the mom, and then she uses that money to alienate him from the kids and make up stories about why he's such an she's the best person.
Yeah.
And it's an unfortunate sequence of events because, you hear a lot of women, but I'm not like that. I would never do that. It's like right now.
Yeah,
right now. When you're looking to untie the knot and women are hypergamous, so they want to get the best they can possibly get, guess what? Family law gives them the best they can possibly get because everything in the legislation is written to protect them.
And I'm going to pause right there because I've been saying this. For the ones that know, I've been saying this, and I'm glad that I actually have a plus one now that has exactly said the same thing I've been saying this whole entire time. Family court laws was written in a time where women didn't have the options to pick and choose for themselves and have the ability that they have today to be able to be self-efficient. And they have not rewritten it since then. And it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed. 2, for men in his situation, this is only for guys that have some type of net worth, some type of motion going, right? If you're married to somebody, and it might be funny because somebody be like, well, why would a woman marry a man that's broke? But you have them out there, for rich or poor, sickness and health. More than likely, when you have money, that's when the strategic planning comes into play, right? Because the way it works in majority, again, the majority, not the minority, mindset is, I don't want to be with this guy anymore, but how can I continue a lifestyle that he can provide me without me physically being in that type of situation? And that's when we have the alimony. That's when we have the child support that just does not make sense. When you have these people that have high 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure net worths, it's like, why does one child need $6,000 a month? $7,000 a month, unless let's just say they was in private school before then, and okay, then that can justify, but it's child support, and that's always been my stance. Child support. If you're choosing to remove yourself from a situation, as I've also stated, majority of divorces are initiated by women. This is statistically proven. Majority of divorces are initiated by women, and if you want to remove yourself from a situation, it should be fair. You should not have access to, and this goes for both sides. You shouldn't have access to either side's money, either side's retirement account. If you guys did buy a home together, sell it, split it down the middle, unless you did not contribute to anything towards that home, not the down payment, not the closing costs, and none of the mortgage payments. And obviously that's clear as day who should keep the home. But majority of the time, they give the home to the mother. The mother gets the cars, the mother gets half the retirement, and it just becomes a situation where now in this day of age, men aren't afraid of getting married. They're afraid of divorce. They're afraid of divorce because there's no incentive. If this goes left, I'm not going to be eating off a hot plate. I'm not going to be struggling to pay child support. Or if you was taking care of your kids while you was married, why are we even on child support? Why is the man even on child support? So when you look at this from a man's perspective, and I get you have some one-offs when it comes to women, and rightfully so, they do deserve what they get, whatever they get in their settlement package or divorce package. But again, that's just a minority. That's really not the majority.
Rich them on the onset, on the outside. This is the thing the whole TradCon guys don't get, right? They're all, we just got to get rid of no fault divorce. That doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But it's not going to stop them from untying the knot, right? And they don't seem to get that. Like you ask any divorce lawyer, like nothing, whatever. It's a stupid argument.
There's a new scam, so to speak.
That's another thing too, man. These divorce lawyers do not care about your situation. You can run and tell these divorce lawyers, oh, they did this, they did that. They're like, oh, really? Okay, well, we can definitely handle the situation. To get started, the retainer is going to be about $10,000. That's just to get started. And by the way, that retainer probably is only going to last you a couple weeks before we ask you for another 10 or at least 5. They don't care. It's a business to them. And being that divorce rates are highest it's ever been, more and more lawyers are now choosing that avenue of law to practice.
Women do. I don't know if you guys know about this, but like, instead of getting married to somebody, you know what they do now?
What?
Do a lawsuit. Because guys aren't marrying women like they used to back in the day. Mm-hmm. So instead of marrying them, what they do is they try to like get you to do assault, or maybe, for example, take it with texts or like phone calls, and then they pretty much just say, hey, you know what? He's attacking me, doing this to me. Here's a lawsuit. And that's
Shannon Sharp.
Indirectly.
Okay. You're seeing this with celebs a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of messages from law enforcement guys from around the world. There was this one guy that broke down everything. So he was fully retired. I did a couple of videos on this on the
American or Canadian law enforcement?
I think he was Norwegian.
Okay.
Somewhere in like the Scandinavian countries.
They all have similar laws anyway.
Well, he broke down, because female nature is the same around the world.
Of course, yeah.
Right. So he broke down this 3-step racket, basically, and women will allege a false domestic violence charge to get the guy out of the house, which is known, for the most part. But this one's the one that blew me away. So women will lay claim to being raped. We use grape here, yeah? And what they'll do is, if they're out with their girlfriends and they smash a guy, and they have a husband or a boyfriend or a significant other in their life, then because somebody saw them there doing it and they got caught in the act, what they'll do is they'll go to the police station and say, oh, I was raped.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they file a false rape accusation. I got into this. I'm like, what percentage exactly are false in your experience in law enforcement investigating these cases? You know what he said?
Accusations. He said what percentage?
80%.
80%.
80% of the time when women are going in to allege rape, it's false, and they're doing it to cover their ass because they were a hoe and cheated on their husband or their boyfriend, and they had to make up a story and say that, oh, I got raped.
Do you remember?
That's crazy, man. And rape is a felony. Rape is like 10 years plus. Rape will get you raped in jail, in prison. Forget jail, you going to prison. Man, these stories get wilder and wilder, man, on both sides. Yikes. And the domestic violence thing, I go and add to that. I think more than half of these domestic violence calls, they're initiated by the woman, and the man is just trying to protect himself. Now, again, for all the true victims out there, I always have to come up behind my tracks. If you really were assaulted, you really went through domestic violence, then that is not okay. But you'll be surprised what really goes on behind closed doors. I love you guys. I appreciate you for continuing to rock with me. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Are they really spot on with this? Obviously, it's always going to be a little bit of gray area. Everybody's situation is going to be different. Shout out to Fresh and Fit. Don't agree with everything they say, but you can't lie. They do bring a lot of facts. They do bring a lot of statistics when they are making their arguments, especially Myron. So, y'all let me know what y'all think. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Peace.